1 Corinthians chapter 1, starting in 24, says, But to those called by God to salvation, Christ is the power of God and the wisdom of God. This foolish plan of God is wiser than the wisest of human plans, and God's weakness is stronger than the greatness of human strength. Remember, dear brothers and sisters, that few of you were wise in the world's eyes, or powerful, or wealthy when God called you. Instead, God chose things the world considers foolish in order to shame those who think they are wise. And He chose things that are powerless to shame those who are powerful. God chose things despised by the world, things counted as nothing at all, and used them to bring to nothing what the world considers important. And as a result, no one can ever boast in the presence of God. But God has united you with Jesus. For our benefit, God made Him to be wisdom itself. Christ made us right with God. He has made us pure and holy. And He freed us. He freed us from sin. Freed us from sin. There was a time in my life when it's that thing that you kind of go through when you're kind of trying to find yourself, trying to figure out who you are. And I remember being in a musical, kind of giving a little bit of self-disclosure, being in a musical. I was in Fiddler on the Roof. It was the rabbi's son. I remember hearing a recording of myself. And I was sitting and I was listening to it. And I started crying. I thought, sounds awful. Now, obviously, I was a freshman in high school, so you're still trying to figure all that stuff out. And I thought, I'm not going to sing again. I'm just going to stick with band. I'll be a bando. It's fine. And I remember my stepsister saying, it's my senior year. Why don't you join choir with me? I'm like, no. I'm not doing that. I've already heard it. And no, thank you. She's like, whenever you have those voices, oh yeah, I'll do it, whatever. So I did it. I remember my choir director saying, "You're really a baritone, but we have a good falsetto. So we're going to put you at first tenor." So I spent like the first 3 weeks of choir lightheaded and trying just to hold myself. Whoa, not sure about all this here. I remember then going to college and music education, and God kind of had different plans for me there. And I was, this might be hard to believe, but by nature I am an introvert. And like I said, God has other plans. And so when I started traveling with the team there, he said, my road manager said, we're going to have to introduce yourself and we're going to have to do transitions. I said, I am not doing transitions. I am not doing that. I am here to sing, and that's what I'm going to do. And if you'd like me to do a transition, we will stand there in 5 minutes of silence. And I'll look nice in my JCPenney suit. And eventually, our road manager, he graduated from college, and I became road manager. I remember God saying, I'll help you. We'll figure this out. And probably, if you've been around here for very long, if you put a mic in my hand, it's hard to shut me up. Most of the time, I try to make myself feel comfortable and then have everybody else in the room try to feel as comfortable as possible. But I love that verse when he says that he takes the foolish things of the world to make the wise pale in comparison. He takes the things that seem worthless and he raises them to greatness, because the thing of it is, when it comes to that, if I was a great speaker or a great, the next, I would have a tendency to boast in myself. But But I could look back. All of us can look back at some point and go, I know that God helped me right there. And if He helped me there, He'll help me again. David was much like that. King David, he was out in the field, just minding his own business, tending to sheep. Next thing you know, he's anointed king, but he didn't go right to the palace. He went back to the sheep. Everyone thought that all of David's other brothers could have been that, but God chose a shepherd boy because He knew that he would get the spotlight. God would get the spotlight. And I love how God is willing to get into David's mess, into the dirtiness of his life, the mess of our lives. That He stepped out of heaven to get into our dirtiness and say, we're going to clean you up. Go ahead, Tricia. God, tonight, I pray that Your love would break through our hearts. But Father, I'm sure that there are barriers built up. I'm sure that there are walls that have been building for years and years and years. I'm sure that, Father, there are some here tonight that they feel like their dysfunction defines them, and it does not. Your Word defines them. Your Word defines us. And You have said that we are sons and daughters of the Most High God. That You'll be there with us. That, Father, You said that if we come up against a fight, if we come up against a battle, that we need to do our part, but You will always do Your part. And You want to partner with us. I pray, Father, tonight that Your love would speak into that wall and it would burst open. I pray, Father, for that door that was shut maybe years ago, maybe months ago, maybe yesterday. But, Father, that Your love would bust it wide open. We would know tonight that You have come to give us life and life more abundant. Yes, there will be bad times. Yes, there will be pain. Yes, there will be sorrow. But You have said that there would be joy. That You would take our ashes and make them beautiful. That, Father, that You would pour Your love over top of us and we would be overwhelmed by it. Help us, Father, tonight to realize our identity is in You and You alone. No one else defines us, but You define us. May Your love break today, tomorrow, the next day, a month from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, that You reign forever. But it's not a matter of who is on what seat in what house and in what country. But Father, You oversee all of it. And Your Word stands and You remain sovereign. We give You thanks for this night, for what You are doing, but more than that, for who You are. Powerful name. And everybody in this house said, Amen.